announcements. Let me start recording these. Do you guys see me yet or not yet? Let me hit the, it always asks, are you sure you want to show your screen? Okay, great. So a couple announcements just to start off class. The first one that you will keep hearing about is joining the Interior Design Club. I covered up that poster, so I don't know why I'm looking back. But again, to join the club, it's $15 for the year and $10 for the semester. I think we have a lot of fun events coming up, including a couple that I will be talking about today. And our big push is try to get everybody paid and registered before the end of the month, because if you guys join and pay before the end of the month, the club organization here at the college will match our dues. So your $10 or $15 will be doubled. And we use that money to put on events. A lot of it actually goes towards hosting the graduation show at the end of the year. And another thing that we do is stocking the Cancer Institute. So we use the club dues to purchase things for kids as well. So I'm going to keep asking you, and you'll have people asking you in your other classes, but after the first week of October, we will start asking less and less. So with the club dues, we can only take cash or check. I don't even know if you guys know what a check is. I will show you videos after class on the history of what checks are. But if you wouldn't mind bringing that to class, we can take care of it for you. When you guys pay your registration fee, essentially what happens is you get on our email list that gets you into all of the events and extra credit opportunities. So it's a way to officially join us. I said I was going to talk about a couple events coming up. I'll just get this out of the way at the beginning of class. The first one is coming up on Thursday, September 26th. It's called SaltCon. And it used to be the IIDA trade show. Even last year, that's what it was called. And what the Interior Design Association decided to do was to expand it. So it's not just a convention for interior designers, but it's pretty much for anybody within the design industry. It's such a small industry. And so now the event is not just for interior designers, but it's the people that we work with. So consultants, architects, contractors, lots of different vendors will be there that you'll be working with in the future. Excuse me. But this, it starts at 1, and you can go to any portion of the show for $5. And at 1 o'clock, they're going to talk about the color forecast by PPG Paint. The actual expo is from 2 to 4. And then at 4 o'clock, there is a speaker. And so what we've decided to do, that's the poster up here, is at 3 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and meet somewhere as a club. And what it'll let us do is it'll let us walk the expo for about an hour. And if we decide to, bless you, Maddie, we can keep walking the expo, or we can all go to the professional development speaker. Is your body language sabotaging your career? I'm pretty sure I've seen this woman talk before, but I'm not sure. I think she talks, it's not just about body language, but she had some really interesting evidence on if you ask somebody a question depending on where they look initially, it has to do with the type of response they're thinking up. So it was pretty cool. I learned a couple things that was interesting, but and then I think the best part will be the networking and happy hour. So they will have like food trucks and things like that there, but again, a great way to meet people from the industry and then just other people from the club too. So yeah.
What exactly is like the expo? Maybe that's a dumb question, but what?
Oh, so the expo, it's for interior designers, contractors, architects, and there's lots of vendors there that you'll work with in the future. So last year there were tile vendors, paint vendors, even window manufacturers, basically anybody that has to do with the construction field. And so again, last year they said it was Interior Design Expo, but the truth is all of you use the same vendors that I would use as an architect. And you talk to the same contractors I work with, the same consultants. So it's a lot of people there with the booth set up that they want to start making relationships with you. So as you start working, you'll call them up for fabric or paint, things like that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd love it if you guys could make it. Again, that's next Thursday, and it's just a little bit after this class, and it's at the Gateway. And again, if you're not sure about when to go, the officers and I will be there at about 3 o'clock. I'm going to be there actually a little bit before and a little bit after 3. I have to take a break in the middle to go pick up my kiddos. But I'd love to see you guys on the 26th. And then another fun thing we're doing the first week of October, we are taking part in something called Barkitecture. And it's a design competition through the American Institute of Architects. And we are essentially designing a tiny dog home. And we are looking for our club members to come help us build that. And so the officers, they're kind of designing it as a group, and then we'll build it. And the thing that's great is that they do auction these off for Strut Your Mutt, which is, I think, the second week of October at Liberty Park. So if you've been to Strut Your Mutt, maybe you've seen this at the event before, but all of the proceeds from the auction goes right back to Strut Your Mutt. So if you have a soft spot for cute furry creatures, not me, the other kind, I think it would be a fun event to take part of. All right, so with that, our lecture starts 7 minutes in. I had a lot to say today. So the club, the SaltCon, and Barkitecture, 3 extra credit opportunities coming up. So, and we'll keep telling you about them as we get them. All right. So with that, hopefully you guys have this link open. We're going to come back here in just a minute. For now, though, let's start our class in the tiny house. And let me also, I have to thank Heather. I forgot to post the assignment. I posted the exercise, but not the assignment for last week with the ceiling for your 2-bedroom home. A lot of you guys probably worked on it in class, but I never made the assignment to turn it in. So I will post that before the end of class today, and if you could just do it before the end of class on Thursday, that would be great. Oh, sorry, Wednesday. Last year, no, Thursday. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so busy. Okay, so today we are going to start our first discussion into interior elevations. And there's 2 ways to do interior elevations in Revit. But we are going to start with the BIM modeling way of doing things. So you guys are going to go out, you're going to explore, find some BIM models, and then when you start working on your 2-bedroom home, we're actually going to reserve some of those spaces to do things kind of the drafting method, I would say. So the way that we would typically do it in AutoCAD. But for our 2-bedroom, we're going to try to get it all done with BIM objects. Okay? Did I give everybody enough time to open up their file? I hope. Okay. So what I'd like to do is let's start in our restroom to begin with. And when I look at my plan, there's kind of a lot going on right now. I see my floor. I also see some dimensions. And let me just make some notes right here. There's going to be a lot of shortcuts that I have to put on the board today. So I'm going to be teaching you guys about visibility today, because as we get more and more things on our plan, as we're working, there might be things that we want to take out of our view and then bring back in later. So there's a difference between deleting something off of your plan and then actually bringing it like into your view and out of your view. For those of you familiar with AutoCAD, this is similar to freezing and unfreezing, okay? So with that, if I wanted, the difference in visibility is that you can decide to turn off one single element at a time, or you can turn off essentially that whole category, okay? So let me write that up here. So I'm going to do single element versus category. Now, does everybody see, well, does everyone have a door tag right here? And if you don't, you can create one real quick. Again, you can go up to Annotate, Tag by Category, and then select that door, and it should put it in there for you. So this first example that I'm going to show you is a single element visibility, okay? If I didn't want to see this door tag because I'm about to start working in the bathroom, what I could do is click on the door tag and then type in EH, and that stands for element hide. So this doesn't delete it. It just temporarily hides it until you tell Revit you want to see it again. And on those same lines, do you see how I have this 8-foot dimension in here? That's kind of also in my way. So let's click on the dimension, type in EH, and I have a 6-inch one here too, EH. Basically, any dimension that's running through our restroom, click on it and hide it.
So select hide in view and right click menu.
EH. You could do hide in view too, that works too. But right now, the reason why we're doing EH is there is a whole slew of shortcuts that will also easily bring things back.
So we're just hiding that one door, or?
So we hid the door tag and all of the dimensions that were in the bathroom or running through the bathroom. Want to bring things back, and so with the with our shortcuts, what I want to do is view. We typed EH to hide, and then if you type in RH, it reveals the hidden elements. Do you guys see that your screen kind of looks red at this point right now? So everything that's red are things that have been hidden. And if you want to unhide it, oh no, I can't remember the shortcut. I want to do the keyboard shortcuts. You can click on it, and I think, I see UE, nope. Revit is so mad at me, nope. So the button that you could hit is unhide. Oh, it's EU. Okay, there we go. So EU is unhide, or element unhide. Okay, so weird shortcuts that you'll have to learn, but these are so helpful, and honest to goodness, I use these on a daily basis. Like I said, I cheated and I kind of made my own. But these you will learn, you will want to learn them so you can use them on a daily basis. So if I click an element, I could do unhide element, or again EU, and you see that it grays it out. It kind of activates it back into the view. And then once I'm done with this menu, you could hit this X or just type in RH again. So let's do that a couple more times. Let's go to these two window tags right here, or find anything on your plan, really. So tell me the shortcut to hide an element. Yep, EH, element hide, and then click again, element hide. Now, is this a category hide or a single element hide? Single element, good. Now let's say that you did your work, you got those out of the way and you want to bring them back. How do you get back into the screen to see what's been hidden? RH, good. So reveal hidden. There they are. My dimensions are still there. And I also turned off my section line because it was going through my bathroom. So to bring these back into view, I click on it, and what's my shortcut? EU. Element unhide. And you can tell it's been activated back into the view because it's no longer red. Right? And then when you're done, what keys do we hit again to get back? Good. So we'll practice that a few more times in class. But the next thing that I want to show you guys how to do is a category. So this is another menu. This is a mouthful. It's visibility and graphics override. We will come here several times throughout the semester. This menu does a lot for us. This is the closest thing that we have to a layer manager in Revit. So we don't have layers in Revit, but this is the closest thing we have. So go ahead and type in VV for me. And I'm going to expand this menu just a little. I guess, no, I can actually see it pretty well. I'm okay here. So if you see up here at the top, do you see all of the different categories that we have? So the first one is model categories, so that would be our BIM categories. Then we also have annotation categories. Let's start at the BIM categories. Now, for example, here, do you see how it says filter list show all? I can change that to only show the architectural things. Essentially, that's all we're working with in the model. Okay? You don't have to change this. You can just keep it to show all. But if you wanted to take all of your doors out of view, if I deselect doors and then hit apply, do you see how all of my doors went away? So they haven't been deleted, they're just no longer in view. And then if I click on it again and then hit apply, it brings them back. If you hit OK, it just totally takes you out of the menu. The other thing, I mean, if you wanted to, you could even turn off all your walls. It might get mad at you, but I'll try it. Okay. Kind of an awkward model, but it does let you do that too. I'll bring them back. For the most part, when I am working in this class anyway, the thing that I like to turn off the most are my dimensions. So if I deselect dimensions and then hit apply, it takes all of them off without deleting them. So the thing is though, now that the dimensions are off, okay, I'm gonna hit OK. Now if you try to put in a dimension, you're gonna get a warning. Down here it says, none of the created elements are visible in floor plan, main level view. You may want to check the active view, blah, 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 blah. Eventually it says visibility settings. So because I changed the visibility settings in the VV menu, it's just warning me that, okay, you do have dimensions there, you just can't see it. So if I were to turn the dimensions back on, do you see that that dimension is there? I just couldn't see it.
Does it show you somewhere you're drawing that they're turned off?
The best way to show is the RH. Yep. So the RH shows you what's been turned off. Yeah. Yep. And like I said, we're going to come back to this too. There's going to be other categories that we'll work with later on in the semester.
Turn that door off and that doesn't show up in there because it's just the one door, huh?
My doors are back on.
No, but I mean, if
Oh yeah, so this only shows you what you turned off as a category.
Okay.
So the first column, so let me kind of distinguish between the two. When you do EH element hide, the single elements, you use RH to show you the single elements. Do you see how right now it's not showing me, for example, the dimensions? Thank you. So this isn't showing me the categorically things that are turned off. But in VV, if I come back in here, if I were to turn off doors and hit apply, gosh, excuse me, they're off in my menu, and I'm pretty sure if I go to RH, oh, they still do show up. They will still show the category here too, when it's the elements. But that's what you can look for. Okay. All right, so now this is back, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more control over your model so that if dimensions are getting in the way, you can turn them off. If tags are getting in the way, you can turn them off while you're working. Just make sure to turn them back on before you turn them in so it still looks like a construction drawing. Okay? All right, now we can go ahead and start talking about how to create an interior elevation and how to bring stuff in that you might find online.
So if you have stuff turned off and you quit, they'll still be.
Yep, it'll preserve the state that it's in. And even in your, let's say on your floor plan, you turn off, it looks like this. Your sheet view will now look like this too.
So all the views look the same? Missing, okay.
Yep, no, sorry, not all the views, just this one. So even though I turned off the dimensions here, I don't think I have dimensions anywhere else, but if I had like, let me go to the roof plan and put on a dimension. This view is separate from my main level. So see how I can still see those in there?
So that apply to both all these shortcuts? It's a view specific?
Yep, it's view specific. Okay. And now in here, what I'm going to do is teach you guys how to place an interior elevation tag. And similar to a section tag, the moment you place the interior elevation tag, it also creates the view for you. So this one's a little bit different because we're going to go to view. And the thing that's a little bit tricky that I want you guys to be careful of is this is an exterior elevation tag. And that's what we have to start with. Do you guys see elevation right here? Okay, so we just click on elevation. But over here in properties, we can pull down and change it to interior elevation. And the first elevation that I want to draw will actually be in our bedroom. And let's face the west wall, so where the windows are. The thing about these is that when you first put them in, as you go to the walls, they kind of point their arrows in the direction they need to go. But even if you did it in the wrong direction, if you wanted to place it like in the middle of the room right here, as soon as you click, hit escape a couple times so you stop drawing interior elevations. But what you can do is click on the circle. And so to click on the circle, you actually have to go, do you see where my cursor is? It's actually on that outer rim of it. When you click out there, you can come and select these check boxes or deselect them. So this is warning me that this view will be deleted. I haven't done anything, so it's okay. So first, let's just talk about the tag. Again, click on the circle to see the different views activate. Okay. Click on the arrowhead, and do you see how it's telling you where the view starts and where the view ends? So by default, if there's walls in the room, Revit will go from wall to wall. So over here, did you click on elevation? Yeah. Okay. Now when you go to elevation, on the drop-down menu in properties, go to interior elevation. Got it? Okay. Once you've got it in, meet me here. Double click on the arrowhead and let's see what that interior elevation looks like. You guys see our little windows? Yep. So now what I'd like you guys to do, this isn't going to be that exciting. I'm going to go back to the plan. If you go back into architecture and then component, let's see if we go to load family, let's just see what type of furniture we have. And maybe spend, only like 2-3 minutes putting in some furniture in the bedroom. Put in whatever you'd like. I'll give you guys some time. And if you want, maybe put furniture a piece of furniture on every wall so we can activate all 4 views, okay? So 5 minutes to throw in some furniture. Make sure you have something on every wall, and then we'll walk through it together in just a bit. Okay, I'm going to start recording this. Okay. So again, under component, one of the questions that was asked is when you're in the component menu and you go to load family, I'm going to go back to furniture. If you were looking for the sofa, for example, and you hit open, it says that you're already, you're trying to load the sofa, it already exists, what do you want to do? Even if I do overwrite, I'd have to come over here and reselect the sofa because it was already in there. So there's a sofa. Okay, I can hit escape a couple times, and then again, component, and since it's the residential template, I can also see that there is a bed already in here. So I'll grab a bed, way too big, come back to my beds, I'll grab a queen instead. Okay. And again, I can just look at this kind of list of stuff, like a little reading nook here, or I can go back to load family and then see all of the different things of furniture I have in here. I'll look under storage. Now I have my, let me see if I can change, I can change my display while I'm working. Remember, I keep mine on course because it's hard for me to see the separate lines. With some of these pieces of furniture, like for example this dresser, I have no idea if I put it in front or back. So I'll just have to see that in the interior elevation. And I think that's all I'm going to put in for now. And if I wanted to see how this was looking, let me even take this chair. I'm going to do a create similar, and I'm just going to put in a chair right here so I can see what that looks like. So if I wanted to see this view and the other views that I've created, again, I just click on the circle and then the check marks to activate those views. So why don't you guys go ahead and activate your views. So if you click on the circle, and you have to be really specific, you have to get it right on that black line of the circle, you will see these little check marks pop up. So if you click on it, it'll activate the view, or if you deselect it, it'll be deleted.
So you just put one of these symbols in the middle of the room, and you just get the views.
Yeah, so instead of putting in 3 or 4 different interior elevations that point different ways, just place one and then turn on the different arrows. So let's start with this view to our left, which would be the west view. So again, double click on it. And now you can start seeing the chairs and the bed. And I promise AutoCAD doesn't pay me, Revit doesn't pay me, but I love it so much because so quickly I think we were able to get interior elevations and put in some space planning too. It might not be the furniture that you want or love, but it's something to help you start planning the room. You can also go back to the main level and check out your other views. Let's say, so take a look at my screen, and actually let's try it together. Let's go back here. On your interior elevation, you know, you might just have to look at my screen and then try to emulate it. So do you guys see that this view is being cut from like the middle of my bed? And then I can see the chairs beyond it. So again, this line is where the view starts. So when I double click on the arrow, here's my bed and then here's the chairs beyond. Do you guys see that? What you can do is on any one of your views, when you click on the arrow, if I didn't want to see my bed in this view, I can pull that line down. And now when I double click on the arrow, do you see that the bed is gone? I can even go back to the main level and even pull it all the way back up here. I don't know what that changes. I think it has the dresser in it now. I don't know if it had it before. But you can activate the view. Sorry, not the view is activated. You can customize the view by clicking on that line. Let's try that in one more area of the house, and then what I'm going to do is kind of turn you guys loose to finish up the bathroom and some of the other areas. Now in our front room up here, go ahead and put an interior elevation tag in there for me too. And if you look at my screen, please copy the views that I have created as well. What I wanted to show you guys is if I click this view on the left again, so again the west view, right now that view goes way too far down the room because now I think that's the kitchen, and I don't want the kitchen in this elevation. I essentially want it to stop right here in the hallway. Without me telling you, do you guys think that you can figure out how to edit that view to stop at that door? Thank you for the nods. That helps move stuff along. What you can do is grab this blue handle and just kind of put it right there. And then when you look at the view, did I put double doors there? What am I looking at? Oh yeah, I did. That's what it looks like. Oh, now you can see the stuff that you really picked. I didn't even recognize, and the lamp, you master's degree. Okay, so there's our other view. Now for this next portion, again, this is where I said I'm going to kind of let you guys loose a little bit. I want you guys to meet me back in Canvas where we had our discussion, and we had the different BIM objects right here. Each one of these will be slightly different from the other, but they're all going to be relatively the same. So just so you know, I think the majority of them will ask you guys to log in and sign up before you can download anything. Part of getting free BIM objects is letting them advertise to you, like send you emails like, hey, do you want to buy this? Check out our sponsors or something like that. Let's start at, I think, a couple of people's favorites. Let me ask, how many of you guys have downloaded stuff off of BIM Object or Revit City yet? Okay, I thought in this class people played with them. Let's start in BIM Object, so click on that one for me. So kind of a funny backstory, you guys might remember this. BIM Object is now owned by Revit. Revit and AutoCAD used to have its own website. I think it was called autodesk.com/BIM or something. And nobody was using their stuff. They all would use BIM Object. And so Autodesk has enough money that they just bought out BIM Object and now they own it. So it is an official Autodesk product now. But before we can download anything, again, we need to log in or register. So do that in the upper right-hand corner first. And I actually just use my Google account. That's my Gmail account. Or you can use your Autodesk account.
Where do you log in?
In the upper right corner, mine is gone now. It said register or log in. And David, you might have to maximize your screen. So click this little square button up here.
Oh, okay.
There you go. I think it was just hiding. And I'm going to wait for you guys right here for just a minute until you... Everybody logged in okay? Now, one thing, the reason why we have lots of websites to choose from is that you're going to have to kind of go back and forth between all of them to kind of find your favorite stuff. And they might not have exactly what you want. Like if there's a sofa you love at Pottery Barn, you're probably not going to find it. You're probably going to find one like it, but not exactly. So remember, our job as interior designers is not to perfectly render every room we're making for a client. There are people who do that, but it's another line of business. And if we have time in the semester, if they have an open house, I would love for you guys to go see their office. It's called Bowen Studios. That's kind of their job. And if that's something you're interested in, there are a couple more rendering classes you guys can take and create that sofa so that you can pull it into a BIM model. But for now, let's look up, let's just search the word table. And yeah, you can put whatever.
No, I just put slcc and then click
Yeah.
on student in the thing.
Yeah, really, I don't worry about that stuff too much.
Yeah, just, yeah, student.
I promise I'm not getting you in trouble. I promise. And if I do, a little bit of trouble's fun. I'm going to go ahead, but Heather, catch up with us.
It's not liking the sentence. Let me like my zip code. Uh-huh. So type your zip code in. Yeah, it throws it out. Every single time I put it in, it is not letting me register. Oh, click Harriman. Click Harriman. And then go. Okay. Alright, now I'm not stupid.
People from Harriman, not allowed. Just kidding. Now on these tables, again, I just kind of want to walk through it with you so that you guys understand how to not just download it, but bring it into Revit as well. So Heather, are you in? Did you search the word table? Megan, did you type in table too? Yours look fancier than mine. Oh, tables. Okay. Let me see what tables looks like. Okay, let's do tables. These are kind of cool. So I'm going to copy Megan. I looked at Megan's screen and I was like, oh, what are those? Okay. So under tables, do you guys see this table that's called the Breeze? Click on that one for me. And now let's just hope that they have a Revit download. When you click on download, it's going to show you all of the different file types that are available. So if you're taking AutoCAD, hello Julianne, you may also come grab AutoCAD stuff. But we want, I don't know why there's two different Revit files. That's weird.
Just tables with an S.
I copied Megan. Megan did tables and hers were cooler than mine. And it's called the Breeze. It should be right on that first row. And then let me X out. Do you see where it says download? Okay, so click on that and grab either one of these Revit Breeze RFA and hit download. And on my screen, do you see how it opens up, or it gives me like a preview of what's been downloaded? The easiest thing to do is click on that. Revit needs to upgrade it, so I'm going to click on upgrade. The reason why it's upgrading, it was built in 2015. Okay. So this is what it looks like at the reference plane level. This is set to wireframe, just a little bit of backstory. If you change this to hidden line, then it looks like what we're used to. Wireframe is essentially X-ray vision. So that's what it's looking at right now. That's why it looks a little bit crazy. Do you see up here, there's a button that says load into project and close? Okay. If you click on that, I don't want to change the changes. If I am, oh, now it's asking me to save, but if I am in my main floor plan, I should be good just to put that table in here. And that table's way bigger than I thought. That is like a little side table, but it's all good. Yeah. You know, I'm doing my thing, man. I just wanted to put it in. I'll delete it from there, sorry. I'll just put one in the living room. What was that, Taylor?
I think I figured it out.
You got it?
I think I answered my own question. You just
All
clicked
right.
on load into project.
Load into project and close. Yep. And if you go to the type, oh, it's fancy. It's European. It's color. I don't even know if it actually, oh, weird. And it does change the size on some of them. Okay, so it has a big size and a small size. So there's the 460 and the 800. Those are the two different sizes if you want to toggle back and forth between them. But if we look at our interior elevation, do you see how mine is kind of cutting off the table? It's slicing right through it. I'm going to move that line so I can see the whole table. Yeah, Riley?
Mine is still doing the wireframe. What did you go to?
Oh, so wireframe's okay. Down here, do you see this little 3D box? If I change this to wireframe, I'm kind of back in that same mode. By default, we want to be in hidden line.
But then mine like disappears. It's just a block.
Yeah, mine's a square.
Okay, I'm going to show, so see how on mine it's a square too?
Yeah.
Remember how I said I had mine set to coarse? When it's coarse, it just looks like a block. But if I go to more detail, like fine, do you see what happens to the table?
I'm sure you do that to mine. So I think
Riley, your computer's just not nice. I'm telling you. I'm going to come take a peek at yours in just a minute, but let me finish that thought real quick. So again, over here in your view settings, by default, just make sure you're set to hidden line. Okay. Hidden line makes it so that we see objects as they're meant to be seen. So the stuff that's beyond it is hidden. If you have it set to wireframe, again, it's kind of like what is it called? X-ray vision. You see through everything. So I'm going to change this back to hidden line. And then the other thing is the detail level. So take a look at the details on my windows as well as the table. If I go to coarse, it got rid of all of the details and my table turns into a block because that's just hard for Revit to render simply or coarsely. But if I even change it to medium, no difference. I have to go all the way to fine before I can actually start seeing the detail. Okay, so your view settings are also important when you start working with your interior elevations. And then Riley, let me come take a peek at yours. For the rest of you guys, I'm just going to turn you loose. Another really, I mean, you're going to have to dig through all of these. Riley, let me quickly introduce the different websites and then I'll come around and do troubleshooting. So that was BIM Object. The next one is Revit City. So Revit City looks like a homemade website, honestly. Looks like somebody did it in their basement like 20 years ago. And right here there's this little tiny search button. But it does have a lot of good stuff. So if we were going to go to tables again, you can see that it has lots of different things to pick from. So the thing that's nice about this website is there's a lot of user submitted stuff. And that's also the bad part about it. Some of it looks very like homemade and not nice. But same thing here, you do have to log in. And again, they just want to know who's downloading their stuff. Okay, but it's that same thing. You log in, you make sure it has a Revit, and even right here it says Revit Architecture. it's unknown, but most of these will be Revit files. Okay, maybe older versions, but they all should be Revit. And then you can download it and then load it into your project. Okay.
So when you download it, are we gonna have to go do that at home?
Yeah,
too?
so you'll do the same thing at home too. Yep.
It's on our, is it stored on our computer at home or just within the project?
So it's within the project, so you can even copy and paste. If there's stuff you like, you can copy and paste between files, or you can go online and download them again.
Okay.
Eventually, when we do some more advanced stuff, I'll show you guys how you can save it in your libraries at home, so that way it's always there and you don't have to keep downloading. Okay. Let me go back here. This is one of my favorite. I love IKEA. It's really lame, but I've loved it since I was little, and I love that it's cheap and it's clean, and you know, I don't need furniture that lasts 10 generations. I'm fine with just 10 years. So my house looks like it's sponsored by IKEA, no joke. But here, almost everything that IKEA makes, they have in a Revit model. And they also have, but the thing is it's not just IKEA. So if you just click on Palantis, oh my gosh, look who just bought Palantis. Let's make a website so that Revit will buy it from us. Like, let's just make a couple crappy things through this class. We'll make it look really nice. We will all retire. That is so funny. Okay, I'm just gonna search tables again. Copying Megan. So there is IKEA, but there is more stuff. So look, they're bringing in Palantis generic stuff. That's really funny. So again, I think this is a really good resource too. Little bit on the commercial side with some of the stuff, but there's some traditional stuff in here too that you can take a look at. That's funny. Okay. Sub-Zero, these models are amazing, but they are super, super, super detailed. Essentially what they did is they take their files that they use to manufacture them and they just turn them into a Revit file. So here, there is a CAD library, but the thing about this is this, let me make sure. Nope, don't do that. This is downloading all of their Revit files. You don't need all of their Revit files. What you can do instead, and this will take some searching, the reason why I'm sending you off on your own is that these websites update, you know, it might not update for 3 years, or it could update every 6 months. So the interface changes. But let's say I want a really fancy fridge. So Wolf is their stoves and ovens. Sub-Zero is their refrigeration, and now Cove, it's a new product. It's their dishwashers. But if I click on Sub-Zero, essentially what I need to do is find a refrigerator, and you're gonna have to click around just like I am. Let's say I'm gonna go for the designer series. And I want this one right here. Eventually on the page, and this is new from last semester, this is so much easier. It says CAD libraries. Looking at this, do you guys see any Revit files? Yep, RFA, good. And now if I'm gonna do show in folder on this one so I can unzip it. There's a left hand and a right hand. Load into project. This time it might get mad at me. Oh, it didn't. Okay, Revit 2020 is doing this beautiful thing. Did you guys see that I was actually in an elevation view? So Revit 2020 automatically changes my view to a view where I can drop this in, which is great. Before it would give you an error. Like, it was like a teenager, like, I can't do it. It's not the right view. And now it just takes care of it. So there's my refrigerator. So a lot of clicking there, but there's so much to choose from. The stoves, crazy detail. Every knob, every grill, it's just, and it's free.
Do we have to put the stove under that window, or can we put?
Yeah, you can do whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do whatever as long as, what? The page cannot be found. See guys, they move stuff on me. This was only 4 months ago. Oh no, how am I gonna find this? Okay. Again, people, this is what you're gonna have to do. So I'm gonna go, this website has amazing stuff. And, oh my gosh. Oh. Tables. I'm just gonna go, we're just gonna keep looking for tables. Okay, dimensions in CAD. Do you guys see this menu right here? This is the big drum roll. Does it have Revit? So these are the different sizes. I'm gonna pretend I want this one. Okay. Thank you. I panicked. Oh no, I don't, wait, texture. Why are you being weird? This makes no sense. I don't want a texture.
Can you click down
I think
below
that's
it?
the only one that's available. Because I clicked on a different object and it has like a different check mark.
It does? In the same, well, let me go to dimensions in CAD again. Let's try this one right here. Texture. Oh, dang it. Okay, so this CAD file is not available. But Erin, you did find a table that worked.
The bowl one works.
The bowl? Oh, the bowl. Well, it's a bowl that the other one didn't. Just kidding. Okay. Really, this will be your life when you're looking for stuff in Revit. I'm gonna click download. Download. Woohoo! So I've got Revit. Download the texture too. I know it sounds weird, but in the future, one of my favorite classes is showing you guys how to actually render these. I know this isn't that particular class, but I don't know if you're going to take that class.
It won't let you choose both.
Oh, only one at a time? Let me hit, hang on, control? Oh, okay. One at a time. It's free, I'll take what I can get. Okay. Yay, and it did it again. So I'm in an elevation. Let me load into the project. I didn't close it. Yeah, it goes right to the view that I need. That's great.
So is it, maybe this is a silly question.
Mm-mm.
Do the furniture items automatically scale themselves to
Yeah.
fit your?
No, that's a great question. Yeah, so they don't scale. They just come in at the correct scale. So these are just the scale that the manufacturer made them. There will be some objects, like especially in Revit City, like if somebody made it in like Ukraine, they would be using the metric system, so they may have scaled it wrong. So your bed might come in huge or small, and we can try to fix the scaling, or you can just find a different bed, but it should come in to the scale that you want.
So can you scale stuff pretty easy in Revit or?
No, it's so tedious, but you can. There is a way to do it, but it's not easy. Let me see. Are there what other website? So B&B Italia is usually one of the favorites. And then Herman Miller. I love Herman Miller for their chairs. They have a lot of like the mid-century modern chairs. I know that these are like the like office chairs right here. Let me see. Even if you go look at like stools and things like that, again, this has completely changed as well. But if there's any of these, if you like this Eames wire stool, I swear one day I will be able to download something. Uh-oh. Oh, Pro Resources, maybe? I hope. Yeah, there we go. Revit. This is totally different. And we're in a brand new version of Revit, so just about everything that you download will need to be upgraded. And now that, take a look at my screen, by accident, I didn't close my last model. Revit is just verifying which file I want to pull it into. And so tiny house is selected, that looks okay. And then I can put that in there too. And there's the table. Table and chair. So for today, what I'd like you guys to do, oh, did I not have, let me go back here, sorry, wrong one. Ah, okay. Kohler is another one that I need to add to this list. So Kohler USA, lots of Revit models if you want bathtubs, toilets, sinks. But again, just like B&B Italia, not everything will have a Revit model. Okay, so Kohler USA for plumbing fixtures. You can also look at other resources. Some of my students found some of these for us. So if there's a new website that I don't know about yet, let us know. But essentially what I want you to do is spend the rest of class time just trying to space plan the house. The kitchen will take a long time, just because if you're trying to find each and every cabinet, try your best. So the kitchen, you don't have to have completely done or completely perfect, but the other rooms you should be able to get okay between all those resources. Okay, set up the interior elevation views, right? Activate those bubbles, make sure the lines are where they're supposed to be. And then last but not least, these will also go on to their own sheet as well. And these, I think, are the I-500s. I will check, but I'm pretty sure it's the 500s.
Have you set up a different one for each room?
A different sheet?
No, a different little elevation.
Uh-huh.
bubble.
Yep.
Okay.
And then this one, for example, these rooms will have two. So I had one that's just doing this area, and I'll probably have to adjust this one too, just depending on where you think the room ends. And then you'll do another one for your kitchen.
So would you put the views for one room on the sheet?
No, as many as you can fit. So your interior elevations are considered enlarged plans, so they should be at least a 1/2 inch. The view scale should be at least a 1/2 inch. But even at a 1/2 inch, this is such a small house that if you can fit like the bedroom and the bathroom on one sheet, that's fine. But don't do like one view of the bathroom on one sheet and then the other view on another. Okay.
Can we rename the views to be like bedroom?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm going to look at, I eventually want to change this interior elevation tag because these take up so much room. There's a way that you can have a tag and just have it be called, let me come over here. I'll just, instead of it being called elevation 1D, it's better just to call it 1D. Then you don't have this extra word. I mean, it's obvious it's an elevation. I don't know why they put the word there. Okay? I'm going to pause for now and just let you guys work. Here's an example of, no, I